guys, it's Lindsay and welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be doing another 2019 video. This one's going to be a little bit late, but oh well. And today we're going to be talking about my top 10 books of 2019. Now I read some really good books this year, and I'm actually really surprised about this list because, as you know, I have read 80 books this year. Some of them were rereads and none are in my top 10 of 2019 because I have read them before and have put them in a top 10 of different years. So rereads are not going to be included in this list. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and get started with this. Coming in at number 10 is Pretty Reckless by L.J. Shen. I really enjoyed this book. It had ups and downs for me. I did not like the main female character for a little while, and then she started to calm down and I really enjoyed her. But she's just one of those characters that's just like a bitch 24/7, and she uses it as a defense mechanism. So she is really mean to people, and it's just so weird. But I actually really enjoyed this. I believe this is the first book in a new series by L.J. Shen. This series does follow characters from a previous series, so be aware of that. It's just the first series is basically this new series characters' parents, so do with that what you will. There's really no spoilers in it as far as for the other series, except for who gets together with who, but other than that, you could really read that in the synopsis and it wouldn't be a surprise to you. So that's number 10 on my list. So coming in at number 9 is A Slow Ride by Jane Ryland, and this is book 2 in the Hot Ride series. She does have a couple of other series such as Power Tools and Hot Rods. Those are two separate series. They do have some of the characters in these books, so please be aware of that. But this book is the second book in the series, and it has a lot of the things that I really find interesting. Be aware that these books are about menages, and there are 2 males and 1 female, and they are 100% a throuple. All 3 are heavily involved with each other. They love each other. The men love each other, and the men actually are desperately in love with the woman. So it is very interesting to read about this. So book 2 is about a guy, and his name is Jordan. And Jordan was in a 3-way relationship with the main female character, and her name is Ren. And Jordan and Ren were very much in love with each other, and they did have a third, but unfortunately the third did pass away in a tragic accident. That's not a spoiler, that's in the synopsis. And he was actually killed in battle, and ever since then the two just haven't been the same. They no longer talk to each other. And then enter in Kaysen. And Kaysen is a country music star. He's up and coming, very big and popular, and he sees 2 broken people that really love each other, and he wants to, help them. But he gets so much more out of it than just being able to help this couple. He falls in love with both of them, and it is just a beautiful story. And I don't know why this one was the best one to me, at least so far. I have read all of the ones that are currently out, with the exception of book 5. Book 5 did come out I think it came out in October, and I just haven't gotten to it yet. But book 2 by far has been my favorite so far, and I highly recommend this series. So if you are interested, check her out. She's really great. Number 8 on my list is Asher Black by Parker S. Huntington, and this is book 1 in the 5 Syndicates series. I believe that's the name of it. But this is one of the last books that I read of the year, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was very entertaining. This is about a girl who witnesses something in a bar, and she calls the cops, not realizing that the bar is actually a front for the mafia. So she basically gets pulled into being a fake fiance type thing, and she ends up falling in love with the main guy character, Asher Black, who is this very prominent billionaire, and people are trying to figure out if he's in the mob, if he's out of the mob, like what's going on with him. But I really loved this book. I have not read any of the other books in this particular series. I have read 2 other books that were like a sub-series to this one, but I really enjoyed it, and y'all should check her out because she's really great, and I'm so glad I actually picked up some of her books this year. Number 7 on my list is Addicted to You by Krista and Becca Ritchie. Now this book is about a girl who is a sex addict and a guy who is an alcoholic, and they are in quote unquote a fake relationship. They have been best friends since they were little. Their families are very heavily involved with each other, and these two create a fake relationship when they're in high school to kind of hide the fact that they have these addictions. So they use each other as a crutch or an excuse to do things that you wouldn't normally see in society. But this book is very good. I have read 2 of the books in the series. There are a lot of books in this series, so please be aware of that. These 2 characters do have 5 books of their own, and I have read the first 2, so they were very interesting. Yeah, this book is very much a trigger warning for anybody who is dealing with addiction of any kind, whether it be alcohol, drugs, sex, any of it. Please be aware of that. There is a heavy trigger warning for that. There is also trigger warning for sexual assault and violence, so please be aware of that. Number 6 on my list is The Newlyweds by Logan Chase. Now, this is one of my favorite books, obviously, because it's on this list, but this book is about 2 federal agents that have to go undercover as a married couple in this very prominent high society neighborhood, and they have to convince all of the neighbors that they are madly in love and they're newlyweds and they just love life, and they love each other, and that's basically what it is. I've said this before in a previous video, but I love NCIS and NCIS LA, and Deeks and Kenzie are my all-time favorite couple, OTP, whatever you want to call it. They are my favorite, and reading this book kind of gave me those kind of vibes, and I was very thoroughly enjoyed it, and it's very, very good, so I highly recommend that. Number 5 on my list is a physical book. We're getting there, and that is Revived by Samantha Toll. This is book 2 in the Revved series. I really loved this. This is about a girl who is a therapist and a guy who is a professional race car driver, and one day the male character gets in a pretty severe car accident in his race, and he has post-traumatic stress disorder. Like, he has very bad PTSD, and so he goes to this therapist who helps him kind of learn to get back in the car and be able to, you know, work through all of his feelings, and he ends up falling in love with her, and her feelings are reciprocated, but she is very worried about losing her medical license, so she doesn't want to show a lot of emotion towards him. But this book was very good. It's not my favorite in the series. I loved the first one better, but I did reread that one a couple of times this year, and so that's why it's not on this list. But this one is just as good, and I want to know if there's going to be more books in this series because I do love this world that they've created, and I really hope that Samantha Toll will write more books in that universe, so I'm really excited. Book number 4 on my list is Maybe Someday by Colleen Hoover. Now, I have raved so much about this book. I read it in one day into the wee hours of the morning. I think I finished this around 2:30 a.m. I believe. And this is about a girl who finds out that her boyfriend is cheating on her, and she has a neighbor who kind of sees the whole thing, but he doesn't want to tell her because he doesn't want her to be mad at him. But this guy, he plays the guitar, and he helps her like through a lot of this, you know, emotional distress that she has. And come to find out he's actually deaf, and it's very interesting, their dynamic. She is a singer, and he knows how he plays the guitar, and he writes songs for his brother's band. So it was very interesting. Loved the story. There was some problems that I did have with this, but overall it was a very good story and I highly enjoyed it, and I cannot wait to read book 2, but I'm going to wait until I can actually get it in physical copy, because with Colleen Hoover books, I devour them like physically. I can't just like, you know, read them on Kindle. But another cool thing about this is that this book actually has an entire soundtrack to it. So all of the songs that they write in the book are actually songs that were written by a co-conspirator for Colleen Hoover, and it was a local musician in Austin, Texas, and she worked with him to create the songs that you read about in the book, so you can actually hear what you're actually reading. So it's kind of cool. Really enjoyed this. Book number 3 on my list, we're getting down to the nitty gritty, is The Lineup by Megan Quinn. Now this is book 3 in the like Locker Room series. I really don't think that series has a name, but the first book is The Locker Room and the second book is The Dugout, and this one is the third book in that little series, and I thoroughly enjoyed this one. This is about Dolly and Jason, and Dolly is a CEO of her father's company, and she is ruthless negotiator, and she is just really great. And then obviously Jason is a baseball player, and he gets traded to Chicago where Dottie lives, and I don't know, it's just so good. I liked the first 2, but this one was my favorite one out of the whole trilogy so far. I just loved the dynamic of Jason. Like, Jason has a very odd obsession with his butt. Like, he's a catcher, and so he has a very like bubble butt, shelf butt type thing, and so he is obsessed with his own ass. It's like the weirdest thing to read about, but it is so funny, and I just love it. And I loved the dynamic between Dottie and Jason. It's kind of like frenemies. Like, they didn't like each other in the beginning, or he liked her, but she hated him, and it was just very cute, and I liked it, and it was one of my favorites of the year, and I can't wait to read more of this series. Alright, coming in at number 2, it should be no surprise to anyone, is Kingdom of Ash by Sarah J. Maas. Now this is the 7th book of this series, of the Throne of Glass series. I do believe this is the finale, but if she does write anything else in this series, I cannot wait for it. I'm so excited. This was so good. I'm not going to tell you anything about it, obviously, because this is the concluding novel, but just know that it was so good, and I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'm really going to miss this world and Selena, or Aelin, and I'm going to miss all the other characters that have come up in this book, and I wish this wasn't the last one, but this, as far as the concluding novel goes, this was very good, and I did end up giving this one 5 stars, and I love it so much. Alright, and number 1, we've gotten to number 1. Number 1 on my list was the very last book that I read of 2019, and it took me by surprise. Like, hard surprise. Like, I was not expecting to love this book as much as I did, and the fact that it has been my number 1 book of the year, and I have not been able to stop rereading it or thinking about it, and the fact that I actually went and bought a physical copy of this book says something about this author, and that is The Virgin Gift by Lauren Blakely. I've talked about this a couple of times on this channel so far. This book, so good. This is the 2nd book in the After Dark series. Oh my god. So this series is a little bit more of like the taboo. So the first one was called The Engagement Gift, and it was about 2 characters that were getting engaged, and the main male character's only goal in life is to give his fiance every desire that she wants, like every sexual desire that she wants, and he knows that she wants to have a threesome with another man, but she doesn't actually tell him, and so that is like he tries to get her to tell him, and that is basically the premise of that book, is The Engagement Gift, and it's so good. I loved it. But this one takes the damn cake And let me tell you, I have read some steamy books in my lifetime, but this one, oh my god. Okay, so this book is about two characters. The main male character's name is Adam, and the main female character's name is Nina, and they are neighbors in the same apartment, condo, duplex, whatever you want to call it, and they are neighbors on the same floor. And one day, the main male character, his apartment is getting painted, and he stays over at Nina's apartment. And Nina is a boudoir photographer, so she takes a lot of sexy photographs of men and women, and she's never actually had a sexual experience before, so she creates this list of things that she wants to do. And one day, Adam shows up to Nina's apartment before Nina gets home, and so he has a key. He walks in and he ends up seeing this list that she left in her notebook on the counter, and he's made it his personal goal to help her with that list, and it is so good. Let me tell you, I loved this book so freaking much. I went and bought a physical copy. Like, I don't do that. I don't ever buy physical copies of Kindle books. Like, if this was on Kindle Unlimited, I read it for free, and then I had to buy it myself because it was so good and I wanted a physical copy in my hands. Hands down, the best book that I read this year. I cannot wait for any more books that she has coming out in this series. I do know that there are two other main characters from the first book that will be getting their own book, and I'm really excited for that. Cannot wait. So this was number 1 of 2019, and I'm so excited about it. So, all right, y'all, that is my top 10 books of 2019. This video went a little bit longer than I thought it was going to, but hopefully I can edit it down to at least 15 minutes. That would be great. But let me know if you guys have read any of these books, and let me know what you think about them. And yeah. So without further ado, I hope you guys are having an amazing month so far. It is halfway through the month already. What the heck? I know, crazy. But if you like this video, go ahead and give me a like and a subscribe, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye!